助けに来た男に殺される気分は。鉄十字団に恨みを持つ麻薬刑事さ。
スパイダーストリング。格闘技世界チャンピオンスパイダーマン。
That's right, folks. That right there is without question a better directed and acted movie than Captain Marvel ever was. Like, seriously.
There you go, folks. We're live here Wednesday night on the MCU'S Bleeding Edge. You can find us on YouTube, Twitch, all the great places. Come watch us live. We are going to be talking about tonight Superman, Batman, Apocalypse. That's right, Superman, Batman, Apocalypse. So this came out in 2010. Is our, ninth or 10th?
Yeah.
8.75.
Was it 9th or 10th, Andre, that we're on?
9th. We're number 9.
The 9th DC animated film brought to us by the amazing Warner Brothers Animation Studio. This, of course, had the art style partly based on Michael Turner's work, which you can definitely see that the correlation there. I looked up Michael Turner's stuff, and he most definitely has a very distinct look, and this very much has that. This was directed by Lauren Montgomery, who also is a storyboard artist, character designer, producer, writer, all that kind of good stuff. And this is one of her features. And this, of course, was written by Tab Murphy. This film was released exactly on September 28th, 2010, which was awesome. And like I said, ninth film we're on here. And this one was definitely a different type of film. It has a very distinct flavor to it. It's not your basic, I feel, animated film from Warner Brothers that we've watched the last 8 films. It definitely was more story-oriented. It had a lot more story to it versus action. And I feel that it definitely was something different from the DC animated universe that we got here. So basically, of course, this has some great voice talents here. I mean, I was really surprised at the voice cast for the film. I mean, from Andre Braugher to Kevin Conroy, Tim Daly, Summer Glau, Edward Asner did a voiceover in this, which I thought was really surprising. Plus, playing a woman character, which was really funny, named Granny. I cracked up at that. I thought that was pretty funny because his voice fit it perfectly, I thought. So I think it was funny that he ended up playing that character. But yeah, great voice cast. What does everyone else think about the voice cast of this film? What were your thoughts on that, guys? Starting with you, Kendra.
I mean, I'm in full agreement. I was in shock to see that Kevin Conroy was in this one as Batman, but then again, isn't he the voice everyone hears as Batman? I mean, Summer Glau, it was great to see River Tam in this, especially as the main character. And I mean, for that later, but especially as the main character. I love Summer Glau, and it was really nice to see her do some work that was wonderful.
Agreed. Andre, your thoughts on the cast?
Sure. I mean, come on. The late great Kevin Conroy is the Batman. He is the definitive version of Batman for everyone. I was kind of shocked today. I forgot this is my first time hearing him. After his death last year, which was shocking. So it was great to hear him and, Tim Daly, who is my favorite Superman. I always got annoyed that they cast him in Justice League, in Justice League Unlimited. Tried to make him the older version of Superman. And Susan Elson-Burke, who voiced Diane Prince for Wonder Woman. She's my favorite Wonder Woman. I was so happy to hear from her. I wish we got more of her, but I mean, hey, I love that those three work together, and I wish that we got those three in the Justice League show. But we got this movie, which is great. Yeah, Summer Glau, I love her. She's a great actress. If you haven't seen Terminator Sarah Connor Chronicles, she's great in that show. I wish that show continued on. But yeah, but and then there was just weird casting. Like I don't get why they didn't bring Michael Ironside to voice Darkseid. You know, the fact that the last movie we brought Clancy Brown to voice Lex in Public Enemies. But I like the voice that they got here for Darkseid. I mean, he's a great actor. What's the Andre Bulger? He's really a fantastic actor. You know, he's also funny. If you watch Brooklyn 999, he's a really funny actor. But yeah, overall great cast. You know, what else were you gonna say?
Excellent. Jeff, same question, sir.
Well, Tara Strong voices Miss Minutes in the Loki Disney Plus series, and she'll be in season 2 as well, I believe, and that's why I highlighted her. Let me get rid of that and take care of that out of there. But that, overall, I thought it was pretty solid. Yeah, that's her. But that she's Andre's Tara Strong's been in many of the DC animated films we reviewed, hasn't she? At least 2 or 3, right?
Yes. Well,
I
know
thought.
her. No, she's been here since the '90s. She voiced Batgirl in the new Batman Banter, so she's always been a favorite in the DC casting. So it's great. You know, they always cast her in the movies. So,
No, I love her. She's great as Miss Minutes too. She really is. I really like her. Geez, it sounds like it's raining outside right now. So overall, I thought it was all right. I mean, again, compared to, I guess, going back to like Under the Red Hood, and then going back to before that, the film before that, we did what, Public Enemies.
I'm
Yes.
talking about the voiceovers.
That's what I'm talking about. Yeah, I'm trying to kind of compare and contrast and think back. I liked Batman. I thought I liked how Batman came off. I did. And Superman was all right. I liked the young woman that voiced Kara, Summer Glau or whatever. I don't know if I pronounced that correctly, but I liked her voice. I thought she did a great job. I didn't really like Wonder Woman's all that much. I haven't liked her since we did her origin story film. I haven't liked. I don't know if that's been the same woman that's been voicing her, but I don't know. I didn't think so. That was the best voice, I thought, the best animated, the best actress or whatever that animated her or did her voice as Diana was in her origin story and whatnot. I thought that was the best one, whoever that was. I'd have to look it up right now. But yeah, Ed Asner was good.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Andres. Did you know? Is that who it was?
It's Kerry Russell from the American.
Oh, Kerry Russell. No shit.
Yeah, she voiced her in the 2009 film. Yeah.
Oh, okay, that makes sense. All right. No, I know exactly who she is. No, she did a great job. But besides that, I mean, there really wasn't anything else that really stood out to me. It's sort of as far as Darkseid goes, I kind of see where Andres is going with that. Like why wouldn't you? I'm sure y'all, Kendra, you saw the Snyder Cut trailers, right? Where we didn't get to see Darkseid, like some of that stuff we saw in the trailers in the film, Snyder Cut and whatnot. We still have not reviewed Cyber, right? We still have not reviewed the damn Snyder Cut. But is that who you're talking about, Andres? The Michael Ironside? Is that who usually does the animated version of Darkseid?
Yeah. So so just like Clancy Brown, who voiced Lex in the DC animation universe, like in the TV shows, Ironside voiced Darkseid in the DC animation universe of TV shows. But it's weird that they didn't use him for this movie. Just like Public Enemies, the movie, did for Lex. I don't know.
Well, he was on vacation, so and who knows? But that's pretty much it, Cyber. I want to leave some room in there for Kendra. So, no, I'm just joking. Kendra, you already went first, didn't you?
I did. However, I have to admit, I think that maybe there was something going on with Michael Ironside as to why he didn't come in on this movie, because it is weird for him not to be featured as someone who's a long-standing voice actor for a specific character. I'm curious what was going on. Maybe there was a different commitment. these
God
films
bless you.
came out in
Thank you.
2010. They had a time constraint. Maybe there was something else that he was doing while this part was being filmed.
Can you get herpes through animated sex? Like through animated?
I mean,
No.
maybe.
Oh, okay.
No.
I mean, look at Cool World, maybe.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay, thank you guys. All right, so
Oh my god.
so basically, also something about this one that was interesting is it's actually related into the same story of one of the previous films we've already done, because this is the basically a sequel to a previous one, Public Enemies, actually, which is interesting. I thought it's a standalone sequel. So, because this takes place right after the events of that film, the movie basically starts out with some kind of voiceover going on. The news reporters talk about what's going on in the city, and then all of a sudden something comes flying down and basically bears itself into the water there by Gotham. And all of a sudden, that's when Batman shows up, and he goes in, dives in the water, goes down to look at what fell, and so he goes down there, he's like examining it, and then as he's doing that, we see a dark figure all of a sudden pop up outside of the water. And so then all of a sudden, whatever this dark creature or person is, gets into the bat mobile and starts moving, and Batman sees it on his little decoder, watch thing, and notices it. So he basically takes one of his batarangs or bat things, shoots it up, locks onto the bat boat, whatever you want to call it, and basically gets pulled towards where the boat goes, and it basically crashes through the pier. And that's when all of a sudden, out of nowhere, it explodes, and something goes flying out of the bat boat. And that's when all of a sudden we go to this alley where these guys are working at night, which was kind of odd. I was thinking to myself, but we work at all different hours of the day, so who knows what was going on. But so there's these guys working, and all of a sudden a woman appears, and she's naked, which that I don't get. I was like surprised. I was like, why is Kara naked? Every other thing I've seen, she was dressed. So I was like, okay, this is interesting. Cartoon nudity. It didn't show anything, but I always thought that was interesting. And so I was like, okay, and they're like, hey, sweet thing, and stuff like that, like your common, dude would do when they see a naked woman in the middle of the street. And so they basically, one of the guys approaches her, and she like hits him and like hurts his hand, and then another guy gets punched and gets thrown back. And then basically that's when Kara kind of has like this freak out, basically running around the city a little bit, not knowing how to control her powers. She's flying everywhere, and her heat vision's working and all this kind of stuff, until she basically intercepts Batman at one point, and Batman tries to stop her, and really that doesn't work at first for him. And finally that's when Superman shows up and stops it. And we get this kind of like, she basically ends up blacking out, and she ends up in Batman's lab, and she wakes up. She's on this like machine that he's using to scan her, noticing that she doesn't have normal DNA. She's not human and stuff like this. And she of course has her angry moment and blasts his computer. And like I said, that's when Superman pops up. And so basically, says, figures out that, oh, this is somebody from my planet. It's my cousin. And, basically he explains that to, Batman. And Batman, of course, as Batman is, he's always, worried about everything. And, he's like, I don't trust this. This could be an enemy, coming after you, Superman. And he's like, no, I know my cousin. This will be fine. And so basically, he ends up taking her away from there. And at one point, there's a great funny line where Bruce says, "Hey, you owe me a computer," and basically he's like, "Wait, but on a reporter's salary, that's going to take you forever to pay me back," which I thought was a super funny line.
50K, yeah, 50K, man. I'm sure. I don't think that Kent makes 50K a year.
No. And so basically, Superman ends up leaving with Kara from Batman's lair. So we'll stop there. So what was everyone's thoughts on that beginning of the film, the kind of the voiceover, it kind of starting off from the end of Public Enemies? What did you think about Kara's landing, her not being able to control her powers at first, kind of there, her kind of having this moment where she's, figuring things out. She starts speaking English finally. She has kind of like this interesting kind of like camaraderie with Batman a little bit at first, him still very suspicious, and then basically end up Superman taking her away. What were you guys' thoughts on that? Starting with you, Andres.
Sure. Yeah, I think this opening was great. It get you into the mood of this movie. If you like the first film, I mean, this opening sequence gets you up to date of what happened to that film, and and picks up a storyline that's actually directly from the Superman Batman run. So this is based on the Supergirl from Krypton. Just very quickly, it was the 90s. DC just wanted Superman to be blasted on Krypton. So Supergirl wasn't our Supergirl during the 90s. It was some Matrix thing. So long story, whatever. So in the mid 2000s, this storyline brought back our actual Kara from the main continuity. So this is basically that for this movie. So they're basically on that. So the whole, the river thing, her being naked, and Superman talking to her in the cave. That's directly from the comic. So this is like the page from page thing, which is nice. It's very neat. But yeah, so yeah, I gotta say, I like the animation here. It's pretty unique. I still kind of miss the Superman Batman Public Enemies art. That's like a little bit of Jim Lee. I don't know who draw the comic, but I actually prefer the drawings of the first film here because it was a little drawing. But I did like the Superman design. I think the Superman Kara design is actually good in this film. It's definitely the Batman design I don't like. This is probably the weakest Batman design I've seen. So, but yeah, of course, every Kryptonian we see in medium, they always get to learn their powers fast or slow. So it was neat to see Kara learning her powers like very slowly. So it gave very good visual action scenes, which is very neat. One thing I always wish that we get from the movies, and is like the Kryptonian language. That was really cool. That was something in the comic that I really liked. So it was neat that how, the only person can talk to her was Superman because he's a Kryptonian. So that was neat. So overall, really great action scene. This didn't hook me. When we get into the movie, yeah, it goes downhill when we get to one scene I don't like. But yeah, good scene. Good first sequence.
Awesome, thank you. Same question, Kendra.
So I loved the comic books. I love Michael Turner. I'm a huge Michael Turner fan. I loved his work on Fathom for Aspen Comics, his creation, and especially on Witchblade. And you had mentioned that you can see his influence, artistic style, because that's what this is based off of. And I think that there's no better character that we see that with than with Kara. I mean, I look at her and I immediately see Witchblade. I wouldn't have even known I was watching Supergirl if it hadn't have been for the other big name characters like Batman and Supes. But I like that there is that heavy of an influence because this was a passion project for Michael. I mean, seeing the lead up to it, I love the Kryptonian language. I'm not exactly sure. I'm glad that Andres confirmed it because I wasn't sure why she was naked either. I couldn't remember if that was how the lead up to it in the comic was. Because otherwise, it's like, why are y'all doing that? Like, there's literally no reason other than to show that, there's this moment where you can meet that some human males are pigs. There really wasn't a need for it. But seeing that it's a step-by-step, that makes me a little bit happier. Because, I mean, that's something that also proves the love. You're not diverting from what the artist or the writer's goal was. So I like that. I do like the humor between both Tim Daly and and of course Kevin Conroy. I think it's hilarious. I don't see a better Batman Superman voice acting cast. They bounce off of each other beautifully, and it actually gives Superman what he doesn't normally have in a lot of feature films or in animated films, which is a personality. You get to see the humor between them, which is beautiful setup in the beginning. So far, if I were just stepping into it, I would continue watching just to see what's going to happen. But I do like that this is the origin of Supergirl, and it's a spotlight on her character.
Excellent, thank you. Jeff, same question, sir. Your thoughts on the beginning of the film up to when Superman and Kara depart from Batman's lair?
Well, I thought that the first section of the film was probably the most transparent and like understandable, and like I guess if you were just basing things off of like kind of the lens of like reviewing these DC animated films, like you and I have, Cyber, like, you know, where I've only like maybe seen like one or two of them beforehand, right? At all, if that, at any, you know, from that lens, it felt like your standard normal DC animated film, with the exception of that one Batman film we did. Right, Andre's the one where that had all the different chapters and whatnot and everything. That was a little bit different.
Nights. Yeah.
Yes, but besides that, it felt like it was pretty formulaic as far as what we were kind of getting used to getting and whatnot. And I did kind of grasp Kendra, right, kind of from jump, like Cyber said, like when they had the newscast, which I mentioned this before in a couple of reviews. Andres knows I have. I like that they do that. I like how they start things off and they actually go to the news people, like someone at the news desk and whatnot. It's very grounded, right? It like really grounds. It's very humanistic and like, you know, and whatnot and everything, to like kind of, instead of a narrator, instead of just throwing it into a scene, kind of show you something and then kind of like, you know, have a news anchor come in and kind of talk, right? You know, and it just adds a different kind of element to things. It's like it's not something that you're going to get very often in anything but DC animated films. I've really noticed. But either way, no, I felt like it was very fluid. And then as the movie progressed, things started to become sort of, I don't know. I don't want to say unbalanced, but not as cohesive to me, if that makes sense. Like I felt like I very much was into what was going on at first with the car and whatnot and everything, right? And like was on my own personal way enjoying the dynamic between her and Batman, right? I love Batman and fucking Superman together. They're awesome. Right? I love how they vibe off each other and shit and whatnot. I love how Batman actually ends up being the comic relief with him, like with Kal-El a lot and shit and whatnot, right? And then we're talking about Batman here. Like Bruce Wayne, he's not exactly fucking like killing it over here, like with, you know, at the comedy shows or whatever, throwing down, right? So it's funny. That just shows you that's how dry-witted and dry-humored like Clark is, right? Like Kal-El is, right? You know, like you know, he's not only is he like extremely ethical, but he's also like very I don't know what's the right word, Kendra. He's not a pussy, but like he's kind of very well mannered, like, you know what I'm saying, like very, you know, very plain, you know what I mean, and whatnot, and like not and very like, you know, straightforward and like a very non true knowledge kind of way, not very bleeding edge style. So no, that's all I really wanted to say was just that I thought that the consistent theme for me was that I enjoyed Supergirl, and she was great right from jump. And the Batman coming in with his bat boat, as you said, Cyber, was fucking dope as shit. I don't think that it's fair to ever call any bat invented fucking like deal a bat boat, right? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you know, that was some high tech shit. I seriously thought it was just gonna like go in the water first. I did. I expected it to just like submerge and just dive right down to whatever was down there and shit and whatnot. And then it didn't. I was like, oh, okay. All right. I'm like,
some versions do.
No, it's all good though, because then Batman just jumped in there with this awesome fucking like gear and shit and whatnot. And was like, just whatever. He don't give a fuck about nothing. Like the deep ocean is scary as fuck, right? Like he fights fucking like doomsday motherfuckers and shit with no human, no superpowers at all, right? And doesn't give a shit. And then he goes into the deep ocean and shit and whatnot and don't even care. Like, what up? He's a man with no fear, baby. Him and Daredevil. Right? And that's it. That's my peace timer. What's up, baby? Let's get it.
Thank you. All right. So then, as we proceed through the film, there after Kara leaves with Superman, that's when we have kind of like this little like get Kara used to Metropolis type of deal, and they have like this whole montage of her trying on clothes and trying hot dogs and all this kind of stuff, and basically they have like this day out, like girl day, and they, basically end up as they're walking back through the park, all of a sudden they get attacked. And as they get attacked and they're fighting back, they find out that it's the Amazonians that have popped up out of nowhere to capture Kara. And Wonder Woman's there, and Batman pops up. And basically they're there to, tell Superman that we need to take her to, the Amazonian island, so until she gets her powers under control, because it could wreak havoc. And Superman at first is reluctant about this, that she can learn with him, but ultimately agrees. And so then we end up going to the Amazonians island, and there it's been 2 months, and Kara is currently learning and fighting with the other Amazonians. We're introduced to a few of the different Amazonians, Kyla being one of them, or Lila, and then of course they're basically teaching her battle and stuff like that, and Batman and Superman are up top watching from a distance, and they're fighting, doing their thing, and basically the Amazonian is about to like hit Kara with the blade. And Superman comes down like, that will be it, stops them from, thinking that she's going to hurt his cousin. And I think it's funny. And, he starts complaining about how it's been 2 months, and, it's time for her to go back with him to Metropolis and all that kind of stuff. And, basically they're doing that. And, of course, we can't forget. Sorry, I totally forgot. Can't forget we get introduced to Granny. In between this time frame here, introduce Granny and these other Darkseid employees, and we're introduced briefly to Darkseid there for a brief moment too as well, because they have brought this other superhuman person to there to basically be the next thing for Darkseid or side, and basically the others kill her, and that's no good. So Darkseid is upset, and tells them that they need to get their eyes on the woman that just fell down to earth, which is Kara, and that they need to go and capture her to bring her to him, so that he can make her the ultimate weapon. And that's kind of going on in the background here too. And so once that happens, and they're at the thing, Lila keeps having these visions, and we see this little portal that she's seeing these images with. And we see Superman carrying, it looks like Kara from the water, but actually we find out later on who it actually is. And so, they keep saying that the vision's getting worse and stuff like that. Then we have kind of Lila and Kara go off after the fighting stopped, the training stopped by Superman. And they have kind of a little conversation. And then Kara's like, let's go for a swim. Okay. And so they basically go for a swim. And that's when all of a sudden, out of nowhere, Darkseid pops up with a whole bunch of Doomsdays. And they basically start having this epic battle, which I thought was a really, really well done battle. And then we see them, they're all kicking butt. Wonder Woman's in, all the Amazons are in, and all of them are fighting. And, basically they end up, finishing the battle. They stop it. Superman, of course, saves the day. And, he's feeling guilty about destroying them all, but Wonder Woman's like, hey, they weren't bleeding, they were just drones. Don't worry, you didn't destroy anything. And so basically they end up figure out, oh, this is a distraction. They go to find where Kara is and Lila, and there's Lila in the water, dead, and Kara missing. And so they pick him up thinking, oh, they thought that was Kara that was going to die, but actually it's Lila that sacrificed herself, and they still took, Kara because it was supposed to be a distraction. So we'll stop there. So what is everyone's thoughts on kind of that funny compilation of Kara having a girl's day out to that epic battle sequence? Basically, the Amazons coming in with Wonder Woman and taking Kara to train her. And what were your thoughts on kind of the introduction to Darkseid and kind of Granny and those other Darkseid employees and stuff like that? What were your thoughts on that kind of section of the film, and just what were your thoughts overall? And was there anything you didn't like about it? Was there anything you really loved about it? And just kind of give your overall thoughts on that whole section of the little film. Starting with you, Kendra.
Oh, that's so much to cover. I mean, if there's one thing that can be said about this specific DC animated film, it is that it trusts in the intelligence of its readers, because a lot of this is pulled out of the comics. A lot of it is. And the pacing of it is so quick because it jumps, and you don't know why it jumps, but it jumps, and then it goes to the next part. And like you said, Kara touches down, everything's fine. Hey, you're my cousin. Let's go to Metropolis together. What I do love about that montage is that Kara had absolutely no way of knowing what a normal, typical Earthling girl would do. And so Cal had to set up all of that. And he would have had to have pulled from experiences from everything that he had seen. So for me, that was a really touching moment, because you get to see Cal really showing her what he's learned by watching the females in his life, whether that's Ma Kent, whether that's the girls from high school, whether that's, anybody that's in his life, from Justice League, from just in the Daily Office. It's really cool to see that build up. I do like the Amazonian interference because of the prediction. I mean, you get to see these people don't shy away in this film from any kind of action. Almost every single fight scene is wonderful. There's no end to barrel rolls, so they really don't mind tossing the characters around like rag dolls. I like that, because you're talking about two of, in comic canon, strongest superheroes that you could have. They're the OPs, and to see them getting tossed around like rag dolls is beautiful, especially by the Amazonians. I do like that we get to see Batman be kind of the watchful uncle who doesn't trust anybody with Kara. You get Soups as the older brother who is like, no, she can do no wrong. She's blood. He plays the good Boy Scout. But I like the tempered reserve that we get to see with Wonder Woman, because she's like, yes, we'll accept you in the fold, but you have to work for it. You have to show that you're willing to. And the safest place to do that is on Themyscira, where you have the strongest women in the world. And it gives Kara a chance to not only learn these new powers, but to build bonds and to learn from other women who are strong like she is. So I love that. Ed Asner shines as Granny Goodness. There is no other way to put that. I love every time she gets any kind of screenplay, because Ed just goes. And I like that the whole reason Darkseid even gets entered into this movie is because he's looking for a replacement captain of the guards, which is what these Furies are. They're his arm of Fury. They are the ones that he sends when he wants something fucked up. And to be the head of them takes something huge. So for him to already know that in her young, reawakened state, Kara is potential to do that and take over from someone who is equally as massively talented is really cool to see.
Excellent. Thank you. Andres, same question, sir.
Sure. Yeah, so this section is my favorite. I think it's really good. I gotta say, the best thing about this movie is really the Supergirl arc, storyline. I think it's really the most consistent one, and it's the one that I'm most invested in. And we'll get into it, but I just personally don't think you need Darkseid in this movie. I feel like it's a little unnecessary. I'm trying to remember if this was in the arc as well, but I gotta say, I think you could probably change up the Darkseid to something else, but whatever. But yeah, so I thought that seeing Superman, teaching Kara, the ways of being human, being a teenage girl was like really nice, and just seeing a different side of Superman. I agree with Kendra that being with his mom, Lana, Lois, and any female characters that he interacted. It's cool to see that very positively, in a male, and try to shows that in a kid, and that's really cool. We don't see that enough, so that was the best part about it. And I think Summer Gale and Tim Daly, as the cousins, are really good. They have good chemistry, and I think that's one of the highlights for me for this movie. Um, this is where I was like, okay, my biggest nitpick is just the way we use Harbinger, Layla, the friend. Like, if you didn't know this character is from Crisis on Infinite Earths, and it's so weird you use this character. Like, it could have made more sense to use Artemis, right? Like, we got Artemis in this, and if you've seen the 2009 film, she was also a part there. So, like, why would he Harbinger? Like, I don't understand that. Like, or just use Miss Martian if you want to. I, 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 I like. I like the Carl. Like, I like how she took the friendship very positively, but I don't have an emotional connection to this Harbinger character. It's just too brief, and the way she died, I like how they handled the death, but it's just I don't know this character as well. So, like, that's my biggest negative about it. It's just we don't spend too much time on either her or the Amazonians, and even Wonder Woman, which I love Wonder Woman, and we all love Wonder Woman. But
Yeah, me too.
I especially, I don't know, Jeff, me growing up watching the Justice League and Justice League Unlimited, Susan Exelberg is my Wonder Woman. I grew up hearing her, and she was always my Wonder Woman. And I just feel like she should have more to do, like a character arc, like Superman and Batman, right? But I don't know. So, like, that was disappointing. But I did like the idea of bringing Supergirl to the Amazonians. I think that's a good idea. I think not only she gets training to learn her powers was very neat, and just be with around her age and her gender, right? So it makes sense. But I just wish we had more time with the training. Like, we just get one sequence, and then that's it. And then we're like, bam, like, action. It's like, okay. So, yeah. So my biggest, like, we don't spend time on characters, and like the pacing is way too fast. Like, this is probably the worst pacing I've seen in film ever in this lineup. So yeah. But I enjoyed the sequence. I did like the Doomsday creatures. But I did question how the heck Darkseid like created the army. I don't know. But yeah. So and then last thing is Darkseid. When I heard Darkseid, I was like, huh, that's a different Darkseid. Because if you have all the Justice League voice actors, it was like, oh wow, so you didn't get Mark Ironside. And I was like, okay, but I thought the voice, Andre Bergman is a great actor, and I think he did a really good job throughout the film. It's just I don't think you don't really need Darkseid as the main villain here. You could have used someone else to, like, just writing actors. It's just use some other Superman villains.
Thank you, Andres. Yeah, I think it was interesting that they brought Darkseid into this film. I thought that was interesting. I still don't think. I think that the title of this film is wonky. I don't think it should be called Superman Batman Apocalypse. I think it should have been called Birth of Supergirl. That's what this should have been called, honestly, because I feel this is more a Supergirl film than it is the rest of the team. And I'm not saying that's a bad thing. I'm just saying I feel that it was inappropriately, called a certain title when it really wasn't the focus of the film. Especially, where does the apocalypse come in? I mean, yes, Darkseid is always coming to destroy Earth. Is always coming to try to take over the world, the universe and stuff like that. I don't feel that's apocalypse-like. So I definitely think that the name for this was hilariously misrepresented here. All right, Jeff.
No, there's so many things that, I mean, to have a problem with, to be honest with you. I hate to say it, folks, but like, I finally have criticisms for one of these DC animated movies. I've got a bunch of them. One of them is the way that they paired the different characters together and whatnot. They didn't flow well at all in the movie, right? Like, except for, like I said, except for that initial stretch right in the beginning where Kara just comes in, right? And you get that cute shopping scene with Clark, right? Right, you know, and she eats her first hot dog and shit and whatnot. Although believe me, I'm sure Kara's had eaten plenty of hot dogs since then. You know what I'm saying? But anyways, you know, either way, the bottom line, that was like it. Like after that, I mean, there's no more humor after that, right? Like at that point, basically, right? Where's Lois Lane? Like, I mean, you know what I'm saying? Do something. You know what I mean? Like, add something to the fucking movie to make it more interesting. Instead of fucking Darkseid, why not add Lois up in the bitch and like give us Brainiac or some shit, and she can just beat his ass. Like, Kara can just fuck him up, right? And hang out and like kick it with the Amazonians or whatever. I rather watch her chill with the Amazonians than even like they didn't even need Darkseid in the film. Like Cyber said, there's no point. It was a waste. It was like a waste of fucking like even having him in the movie. If you're not going to have him like full-fledged fucking like out there trying to kill shit, destroy Earth, fucking take over shit, annihilate shit, like you know, he's like a little bitch in the movie, right? You know, sending his emissaries out and whatnot and everything to get Kara and all this shit. Like she's like, you know, a god or something. You know what I'm saying? I'm sorry, but like for one thing, she's not stronger than Superman. She's not, right? Like as far as I know, from what I understand, unless I'm wrong, Kendra, she's not stronger than Superman.
She is, and it's actually spoken in this movie that she is, and the reason why.
Oh, you mean when Bruce does the test on him right
yeah,
there?
Yes, yeah.
He actually says that she's able to assimilate with the sun better, which makes her healing better.
Yeah.
It raises her energy levels. It puts her over 9,000.
She can absorb more solar energy, right?
Correct.
Than Kal-El can, right? And so at that point, she can power up to a higher level.
Right, she can heal herself faster. Everything that she does is going to be faster.
Kind of like that chick that went into Super Saiyan mode and shit in that at the drive-thru, right? Yeah, like that. Except you know, without the ripping anybody's face off or spit it out and all that stuff. But no. Okay, so she's stronger than Superman. That's fine. But no, like I was saying in the private chat, Andres. What my thing with Darkseid is I don't know as much about DC as y'all do. To me, I see Darkseid as the ultimate DC villain. Like he's not. I know that there's obviously other entities out there and whatnot and villains that are more powerful than him. There's Trigon, right, and shit like that and whatnot, right? But like I'm just saying, as far as like you know what his stature goes, right? If you're gonna involve him in there and drop him in. I think Cyber just nailed it 100%. Like, if anything, I didn't think about like what kind of variations they could have went with, as far as just maybe a different film, a different storyline, a different arc for the characters, different way of using them. It would have been better off if they would have kept Darcy out of the shit, right, and just made it be a vehicle for Kara that was more like more like the intro, that first like 25% or 20% of the film. Right, and stayed in that kind of direction. The Amazonians part was good. I enjoyed that, but like Batman, like I mean, why would Batman hang out over there like at MCU'S or whatever the island? He's usually busy fighting crime over at Gotham and everything. Whatnot. He don't have time for all that shit. Why would he be babysitting Kara with Superman?
Because she's a time bomb.
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
Keep our eye on the biggest danger in the room, and she is.
And that's why Diana shows up. Yeah. No. And again, I felt like she was wasted too. I really did. Like, you know, I felt like this vehicle was not good for her. Right. As far as like what she can do as a character and whatnot, everything. I didn't feel like her arc through this part of the film and then all the way through the end. Maybe towards the end a little bit, she redeems herself a little bit, but it just kind of flatlined a little bit for her, which I don't think, like Kendra, I don't blame her, the character or anything like that. I just don't think that it was well written. Her character in the film and the storyline didn't work for her arc. But again, even at this point in the movie, I started to notice that the Batman Superman rapport started to kind of get a little. We started to lose that too, right? It became less fun. Again, that's a big chunk of the movie, but the movie does hurl a lot at you really quickly. And it was cool seeing some of the, like the Andre's name, some of the Amazonian characters we've seen before, that I do like personally. I enjoy them. But at the same time, though, I felt like the way they designed this to play out, I don't like the mix of the characters and villains and whatnot that they ended up throwing together at this point in the film and then moving on. And I think it just could have been gone in a different direction. I don't know how they should have titled it, but it was Supergirl's movie, like Cyber said. So that's what it really was. It wasn't a Batman Superman movie.
Yeah. Oh, one other thing before we move on. My other issue with this movie is also the violence. Like, I don't have a problem with the violence, but I really felt like, you know, with the nudity and then with the violence, I don't think it was unnecessary to push it that hard in this film compared to other ones, because you got the story that's not like overly dark or serious, So I did found that kind of weird. I mean, in a dark side story, it is dark and serious, but I don't know. I feel like the tone was a little mixed up in this film, and I felt it was very inconsistent. So that was my issue when I was watching this film. I don't know if you guys had that when you were watching it, but I felt like it was weird for this movie. Where the other ones, I felt it makes sense with the violence that we saw at DC animation films.
I don't know, Kendra. Sorry, I'm actually, my mouth is full, but no, Andres, I don't care about the violence, but I get what you mean with it matching the tone of the film. I get it.
Yeah, it's just weird. It's like you need to be consistent with that, and I just felt like this movie didn't. Just for me.
Okie dokie. Thank you both. Awesome. All right, so just a little bit more info for you guys out there about the film. This was a direct to Blu-ray DVD release in 2010 when it got released in September of 2010. The film actually ended up earning $6,370,838 on DVD sales and $1,883,591 on Blu-ray sales, bringing the total domestic home video earnings to $8,254,429. So that's pretty impressive. I mean, $8 million for a directed DVD video movie, that's pretty damn good. I mean, that's like if it was in theaters. I mean, that's pretty impressive for 2010. And if they calculated the inflation, being 13 years later, I mean, that's probably like almost $1 billion. So I mean, that's pretty damn good. I mean, that's pretty sweet.
That's more than the Marvels is going to get in box office.
Yeah.
You're gonna be laughing when the Marvels make $1 billion, and you're like, why? Anyways, so we have a trailer to watch for you guys to kind of give you guys a little break, to get you guys reinvigorated for this review, folks, and kind of see what we're talking about here. So yeah, Jeff, if you have that ready, play it, sir.
At least this is better than X-Men Apocalypse. I'll watch this over that movie.
We're all here because each of us, in our own way, fights with the hope of a better tomorrow. You didn't think you could just walk away, did you? This ends now.
Yeah.
Well, that was the trailer, folks, there. And it was pretty short, not very long, very interesting. I think it showed a couple key points in the film. And I guess Jeff here had some scenes he wanted to show.
I do. That trailer was really short. I'm going to go ahead and stop that right there because I think that's about as far as I want to go, copyright-wise. Sorry, folks, if that was not very fucking, like, exciting or whatever, whatnot. I think that sets a pretty good tone for the movie.
I guess. I guess. I don't know. I think that scene was definitely one of the more eloquent scenes in the film. That kind of kind of had some fun to it. I think the action scenes were probably my favorite part of the film, but majority of it I just found kind of boring. But anyways, all right. So there we go, people. We got some footage for you guys. You can see what we watched earlier today or yesterday or whenever we watched it. And interesting film. Not the most horriblest, but definitely an interesting film. All right, so moving on to the latter of all latters, the next portion of this film. The next portion of this film, actually, I think it's kind of funny how they kind of do the storyline. Like people were talking earlier about how this film is very fast paced and that it's too fast paced. Well, I think that also comes down to it being not edited properly either. I don't think it was edited very well either because I feel there's a lot of scenes that did not connect properly, and I think that unfortunately, I think there was some stuff that they could have added to make it seem more cohesive, and I think that was kind of one of its problems too because I feel like there was a lot of backstory in the film, but like it was cut too short at certain parts, and so I don't think it made it seem as cohesive as it could be, which would have made the film better. All right, so as we move on, so after her car is taken, we briefly see her in a cell. Granny throws her in there along with her other, dark side people. And all of a sudden, Dark Side walks up behind her in the shadows and says, I'm going to make you my weapon, basically, make you the new head honcho of my army, basically. And basically starting his manipulation into making her believe and do what he says. Then that's when we go back to Superman, Batman, Wonder Woman, and they go and end up talking to somebody that used to work for Dark Side. Who is named Miss what was it?
Big Barbara.
Yeah, Big Barda. Yeah, Big Barda. And so Big Barda. There we go. Big Barda. Basically, they go to talk to her in the suburbs. She is living like a suburban life, and they go there and talk to her and ask her for help to get to Apocalypse. And she at first is kind of like, "What? You're not going to go there." And I think that that would be dumb. And you guys aren't going to make it back. I think it's funny you think you're going to make it back and stuff like that. And she's kind of resistant at first. She's in her towel because apparently she just got out of the shower. Which another hilarious thing. I thought they had it like, why is she opening the door in just a towel? I'm like, what the hell's up with this? Like, this is hilarious. And so eventually, as they're talking, she goes into the bedroom, gets changed, and she walks back out and says, I'm coming with you to help you. And I'll help you get in there. And she's like, okay. And she's wearing her suit now, which is like this like glammed out suit and stuff like that with like a headdress and stuff like that, which was pretty cool. I didn't think the color scheme of it was that great, but I thought the overall look itself was kind of cool. Like it could have been better looking, I thought, but it still was pretty cool. So she agrees to do that. And that's when they basically make their way to Apocalypse. They, basically infiltrate the Dark Palace. And there they end up starting to go to battle with all kinds of different dark seed people, and basically they end up start going their different ways once they get there. Of course, Big Barda and Wonder Woman go together, and then Batman and Superman kind of go their own ways. Batman dons this like robotic thing that he attaches to himself so he can fly around, which totally made me think of Iron Man. Totally made me think of Iron Man, and I think that was kind of funny because we all know that Marvel and DC kind of ripped things from each other as they wrote these comics. So, I think that Batman and Iron Man are very similar. They're, DC's version and a, Marvel version. So I felt that was Iron Man, Batman there going on. But then as he's flying around stuff, he ends up intercepting things and having to battle them, and eventually ends up getting his machine thing broken. Wonder Woman and, of course, Big Barda, they end up coming in contact with her former associates, and they end up battling it out, ending up beating them and stuff like that. So Superman is, of course, going around and he's doing his thing. He's, basically destroying everything in his path to get to Kara. Of course, at some point in this, of course, Darkseid orders them to kill Superman, of course, that type of thing. And eventually, that's when Superman finally gets into basically like the temple or the sanctuary or Darkseid's palace. And that's where he sees Kara again. And you can see Kara is all dressed very differently. She seems different. And you can definitely see that Darkseid has fully kind of infiltrated her mind and brainwashed her. And basically that's when she starts to start beating up Superman, trying to beat up Superman. And they basically have like a battle, and Darkseid's kind of just hanging out in the back watching, kind of having a maniacal smile on his face, kind of maniacal laughing going on. And as they're battling it out, that Batman's doing his thing, and Wonder Woman and Big Barda are doing their thing. Basically, they Wonder Woman and Big Barda end up capturing Granny. Eventually, at this point, and as Batman or as Kara and Superman are fighting, basically gets to a point where like Superman's like, I can see that you've been brainwashed. I can see that, there's no point of return here, but I got to do what I got to do. And he starts to go to town, and he starts using things that Kara doesn't know. And he ends up basically stopping her. And that's when basically that's when we come to that scene that we see with Batman. So before we move on to that, let's talk about basically that whole little section of the film. Their trip to Apocalypse, introducing Big Barda, all the battles leading up to when Superman defeats Kara and Batman comes into play at this point. What were you guys' thoughts on that section of film? What did you think about the fight sequences? What did you think about the art texture and stuff like that, and the animation in these sequences? Did you like how they looked, how they filmed it? Did you like how it was like pretty much a picnic for Superman leading up to having to battle Kara? And just your overall thoughts on all that stuff and introducing Big Barda and all that kind of cool stuff. Starting with you, Andres.
Sure. So, Cyber, you brought up the part of short, background that was probably cut. It was definitely the Big Barda thing. Like, if you don't know anything about your dark side, the new gods, mythos, and universe, you're gonna be confused. Like, first off, the thing that Batman rides, that's actually a thing from the new gods. That's the character Orion, the famous character that wears a helmet. He's a major character in the Duke Gods. That's what Batman was writing, which was cool. And then we got a little cameo of Mr. Miracle, his costume, when we saw the Ubuntu. Weird. Like, okay, first off, why is Mr. Miracle not in this movie? Like, him and Big Bar are together. So that was the weird part where I was like, okay, That was the first mistake, and that was where I was like, okay, they're dealing way too much stuff, and they're cutting too much that I like about the New Gods, and it just feels unsatisfied. So I mean, because I really like the character of Big Barbara. She's a great character. New Gods. She's really. I mean, she's just like Wonder Woman, but more like cosmic Wonder Woman, which is neat. Her costume is really nice. I like it. But yeah, it was funny how they introduced her. I like the gag where like everyone in the neighborhood stopped because of Superman, Wonder Woman are in. That was funny. But then it was weird that like, oh, she came out of the shower. Like I felt like that was such a, I don't know, mid 2000 like just eye candy, just for the sake of it. Why? Like I don't get that. Like we're in 2010. It's like at that point, it's just why. I don't know. It was unnecessary, but whatever. This is where I had huge fun with this movie. This is where I did not like this movie because Big Barbara told them that she does not want to go to dark side or the apocalypse world. That's another thing. When you hear apocalypse for dark side, that's his homeworld. So it's weird, and it's also spelled differently in the comics. So it's weird that they didn't do that with the title, which could have been make more sense why they called this apocalypse, right? But I don't know, weird, whatever. Yeah, I know, Cyber. It's a weird name. Big, you know,
Barda.
Barda.
It's not that hard. Barda.
Barda. Okay, well, Barda,
Like a
great
barge.
character.
Barda.
Yeah, so Barda was, a great character. Why not? But it's just she has a good explanation why she didn't want to go to Apocalypse, and then then towards the end of the sequence of her home, she say, "Oh, this I was confused. Did Superman ask her to join them to Apocalypse, or did Superman ask her to give him the boot tube to travel Apocalypse?" That was where I was confused. I was like, "Are you asking her to come with you to this trip?" No. Okay, so
No, he was all he wanted was the boom tube at that point.
okay, so I was see that was there was like a lot of miscommunications, and that was the first one. I was very confused because towards the end when she said, "I will join you," I was like, "Oh, I thought you said you didn't want to go," but okay, that's fine. So so overall the scene was very miscommunication, so it was okay, went on. So yeah, then we go to Apocalypse. It was neat. I think the action scenes here were really neat. I like, we separate the teams here. I actually like the animation here. Apocalypse. They're really, slick, and I like some of the creatures we see here. That was neat. Um, yeah. So, not much to say about that. I think it's pretty good. But you know, just not enough storytelling. Really, it's just like action after action scene, and it's like it's fine, but a little while you get so frustrated or exhausted and just tired. That's like my whole issue with Man of Steel. It's like action, action, action. Like you cannot do that. It's like you need to stress out this action scene. If you like Man of Steel, I'm sorry, but I like Man of Steel. But if you put too much accents like constantly, it's gonna get mind boggling sometimes. No worries. Look, Cyber, I know Brainiac. I will convert you to my hive. So anyway, so yeah, okay. It's not my favorite part of the movie. So bad.
Okie dokie. Kendra, same question.
I'm still gonna stand on I like this movie. However, I do when we're talking about it, I don't mind when a movie expects you to be able to infer something given context clues. That's not a problem at all. But I do feel like there are many moments in the film where they could have put way more time into it, maybe dialogue, maybe something that's absolutely directed and subtle where you can't miss it when it comes to like with the Big Barda scene. I mean, I don't mind that she's an Ital. It leads into the joke of, well, can I get dressed first before y'all just barge in? I mean, it leads into the big reveal of her in her costume. So that doesn't bother me so much because simple solution to a simple problem. How do we get from A to B quickly? But I think that moments like that, like when she reveals the wall, I mean, there's so many cool pieces that are there that, like you said, Mr. Miracle's costume's there. I'm sure that the other pieces that are there have some significance, but somebody just stepping into it wouldn't even pay attention to something like that. They'd just be like, "Oh, there's a wall with a boom tube. That's where our focus is supposed to be." I do like how we get to see a lot more of Big Barda's story, though, because she fits in with the dark side as being the previous captain for the Furies, and she struggled to get out. So it doesn't necessarily make sense that she wants to go right back into hell, but I also understand where she's coming from as she listens to Superman. She's like, well, you're not going to get in there without me. And even if you could, it wouldn't be nearly as seamless. So I do appreciate her addition to it, because her and Wonder Woman getting to see their interactions, as brief as they are still wonderful. I mean, the way that they talk, these are obviously two characters that respect themselves. They're both strong. Like Andrea said, they have dual personalities when it comes to their powers and who they're seen as like the role model. So I really do like those interactions. And when it comes to Kara and the, for lack of a better term, goth version of her, now that we've joined Darkseid, I actually like this a lot because it's expected. It's absolutely predictable. I mean, it was absolutely coming. But Summer Glau does this in a way where it could absolutely come off as a whiny teenager moment where I'm just going to throw a tantrum because I didn't get my way. And she takes it and spins it into I have no idea what I want. This is my life, and maybe this is what I want, when everybody on your planet since I've woken up has tried to tell me what's best for me or what I should do. Maybe this person who's offering this freedom of choice is where I should be. I do like how it sets it up, but it's so fast-paced that I don't think that we get to appreciate those moments unless you actually stop and pause on it as the movie's playing. It goes far too quickly for moments like that, for the bonding scene with her and Kal-El, for her and Lila. Andre's brought that up perfectly. Lila turns into a throwaway character when she's supposed to be a primary. I mean, the whole reason any of this is happening for Kara, where it's the glue, is because of Lila's vision. She brings in the Amazonians. She brings in, the fate of the world. And we don't even get enough time with her or why Artemis couldn't have been the same character to do her role. And I agree with you guys. So I do see that there are problems, but I think that the positives for me leading up to especially this Batman scene make up for those.
Excellent. Thank you. Sir Jeff, same question, sir.
Well, I mean, honestly, I don't. I certainly don't think there's anything wrong with Kendra. I like the movie too. I don't think it's horrible at all. I mean, I'm not going to give it like a 3 or something or a 4 or whatever, like in the rating. I don't plan on it anyways. Like that wasn't my intention. I hadn't thought about that yet, but no, it's not horrible or anything like that, But at the same time, though, I guess it's just one of those things. It's almost like I don't want to like try to put it in like the Endgame complex spot, right? It's not like that, but Kendra, not having the background with the DC comic books, right? Like I do with Marvel, all I really know is what people on the shows tell me, and then what we reviewed, right? And like the few comics I have read, and then that's pretty much it. I'm trying to read some DC now, but I'm kind of a novice, so I did. How old is Kara? In Kryptonian years.
In this one, I don't remember if they actually give her an age, but I know she's set up like a teenager style, maybe
like
18 to 20.
Is she 16 or something? Yeah, like is it?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's usually 15 or 16 around there. In the comics.
Oh, well, they witchbladed that real good.
Well, I mean, since she was nude in the beginning of the movie, right? So like you would hope that she'd be over 18. But that's neither here nor there.
Yeah, it depends. Like, I mean, I don't know. It just depends.
Oh, it depends. Okay.
Yeah. Well, because it's because the Kryptonians age slowly, so like some of them are immortal, So, and then because with Kara, it was weird with this movie. I didn't know like if she was like a kid when she was in the pond, and then she grew a little bit, sort of like Superman did in the re-film. If you've seen that when he was a baby, but then came out of the ship, he felt like it was almost like a 3 or 4 year old.
So like the Brad Pitt movie, except where he was like born as an old man, and then became a baby.
Yeah, the Curious Case of Benjamin Button. Yeah, sure thing.
That's interesting, Andres. That's what you thought was going on there with the Kryptonian ship. But thank you, sir. I found that very humorous. Basically, I mean, I think Kendra and Andres pretty much pointed out really kind of what's worth pointing out in terms of the actual activities and whatnot, and characters that did anything for me. I guess are we talking all the way to the end of the movie?
No.
Okay. No.
I
All
said
right.
up to Batman coming in.
Gotcha. Okay. So no. If anything, I think that, like I said, I just felt like if anything, Superman himself, I think it was just got more diminished kind of towards the end a little bit for me. He's Superman. We already know what he can do. We already know what his powers are. The whole like, I'm sorry if this was, you already asked about this and I forgot about it, but the whole thing with the freaking like the three different doomsdays was freaking ridiculous. Like one doomsday can kill Superman. Why do 300 of them? That shit was insane. I'm sorry. I know that was earlier. But no, basically, like, this is where the film for me kind of dovetailed. It just got kind of like twisted. The storyline did. As they inserted different characters in and whatnot and everything. And you got involved. You got New God type stuff going on and whatnot and everything, right? Mixed in with Amazonians. Then you've got Superman. You've got Darkseid. Right. As Kendra mentioned, I did like the rebellious, I guess, sort of like, what was she, mind controlled or like, or like something like that or whatever, whatnot with Darkseid or whatever.
Mind control.
Yeah.
From
Okay.
Darkseid. Yeah, she was brainwashed.
Yeah, she's brainwashed. I like that. That her like going back and forth and like throwing down with KLL was pretty dope. That I found that appealing. The animation was great, Cyber. Overall, like I thought it was really well from jump. I thought it was really well done. That's one of the highlights I think for the movie overall, was the animation was really strong, without question. From the beginning to the end, I thought it was solid.
Fantastic. I disagree with the animation, but it's all good. It's all good. I think it was okay. All right. So, thank you all. Moving on. All right, so this brings us to the climactic ending of this film, which I got to be honest with you. After they leave Apocalypse, I totally thought the movie was going to end. I did not see what was going to come after that. So, just throwing it out there. I think that was really weird how they ended that, so they should have done that better. But anyways, so once Batman enters in where Kara and Superman are fighting, he interjects Darkseid and tells them that he has basically activated the Hell Spores, which basically will pull Apocalypse down to hell, basically. And so basically, Batman barters with Darkseid, saying, "Leave Kara alone, never, interfere with her again. Do not, do anything like that, and let her go. I will deactivate the Hell Spores." And so basically, he ends up agreeing and letting them go. And so then they basically end up returning to S.A.K.A, the island where the Amazonians are. And basically there, and they go back and they're heroes and all that kind of good stuff. And so once they're there, Kara's kind of like, okay, I need to go and kind of, be myself, do what I need to do, and kind of, relax, basically. So that's when Clark decides to bring her to Smallville. And basically we end up going into Smallville, and end up going to Smallville. And while they're in Smallville, Clark and Kara kind of having conversations. Kara kind of saying, "Oh, I'm not too sure what I'm gonna do. Hopefully, this doing this will be fine. I'm a little worried about meeting your parents and this kind of stuff." And in this story, Mr. Kent is still alive somehow, which I thought that was interesting. And they basically end up having them. They start doing their things, and then they're walking up to the door. Kara does, and then all of a sudden, boom, comes through the door, Darkseid's fist, and you're like, what the hell? And all of a sudden, an all-out battle rolls out with Kara and Superman against Darkseid, and we have them fighting back and forth and doing all this great stuff. Darkseid keeps saying he's using his power eye beams or whatever to kill them, and I'm watching it going, why aren't they ash? I'm waiting for it to be ash. You said your vision will make them turn to ash, and they're not turning into ash. So that kind of wording was stupid. I don't know why I kept saying that. They're not turning it to ash, Darkseid. Shut up. But anyways, so as they're fighting back and forth and stuff like that. And of course, Kara here is showing that, her radiation from the sun is definitely make her a more powerful adversary. And they're fighting and stuff like that. At one point, Superman gets punched out of the earth, and him and Kara are still fighting, and she's kicking his butt and stuff like that. And basically he's trying to rally, and eventually he basically knocks her out kind of briefly, and that's when Superman pops back up and comes back down and starts doing his thing, and he starts going to freaking town on Darkseid, which was really awesome. I loved it. Thought it was so cool. And he just keeps going, and he does the tornado thing and shit, and that was super cool. And he's going to town and stuff like that, and Kara's kind of briefly is slowly waking back up, seeing what's going on. And basically eventually, as Clark and Darkseid are still fighting, she basically starts messing with this box thing, which the mother boxes being they look like a remote control kind of here. I was kind of cracking up wow, that's not really a major thing to be a this dark box that your mother boxes, whatever. Thought they were kind of generic looking. Where'd you get that at KB Toys? But anyways, and so they're still battling, and then basically it gets to a point where Darkseid's okay, I'll go back, and Superman eventually booms him, and he pushes him back through his portal back to Apokolips, saying never return or we'll be waiting for you, basically. And basically they end up defeating him. And so after that, basically this fight has helped Kara realize what her true potential is, what she's meant for to be on this earth. And she ends up debuting as Supergirl at the end of the film, back in Kira. And basically, introduce herself as Supergirl, that she's going to, be helping Superman battle the enemies. And basically, they all cheer for her. And Batman, Superman, and Supergirl end up going to Metropolis. And that's the end. Oh, yeah. So, what was everyone's thoughts on the end of this film? What did you like? What did you hate? What did you think was great about it? What did you enjoy? Did you enjoy the fight sequence? Did you also have that same kind of oh, I thought this was ending, and then all of a sudden it went longer? And then after you get that, give your rating on the film, and we'll go on from there, starting with you, Andres.
Oh, cool. Thank you. So, it was oh, okay, cool, we're done. Batman saved the day by tricking / intimidate Darkseid with the sport thing. Good on Batman. This is why I'm a Batman fan, because he knows everything. So he knows what he needs to do to stop the enemy. So good on Batman. So first off, when we see Kara and Clark going to Smallville, I like that the billboard for Smallville is similar to the one from the TV show Smallville. I don't know if you guys saw that. That was really neat, because this was the time where the show was on, and this before it ended the following year, 2011. So that was neat. So I thought, oh, nice. It's always every version. Kara usually stays with the Kents, for the most part, and but I wasn't expecting Darkseid. That was fun, and when I was growing up, you know, if you're in the DC community, you talk about these DC animation films. There's one scene people talk about that's like iconic. This is the most iconic scene from this movie. Like everyone talked about this. It's like this is how you do a Superman action scene. Like it's sort of similar to Man of Steel. Like when General Zod was playing Clark Kent's mom. It's sort of similar battle sequence, but not as like cool and exciting like this one does. But yeah, this was a great action scene. It's my favorite out of any action scenes I've seen so far in the DC animated films. Just the seeing how the Kryptonians are very powerful, and especially Kara, I think was really great. What I like about it is how Supergirl was smart. Like I like how she tricked Darkseid. So she used against Darkseid's Omega beams. That's what he called them. With the lasers, that they're called Omega beams, and so it was really neat that Kara like tricked him and like used him as a shield, and like the Omega beams hit Darkseid. That was neat. So it really showed Kara being very smart, which is great. So that was a really cool sequence. And I like the Superman the Sun. It's sort of similar to Dark Knight Returns, when like every time he's weakened, he goes up to space. Of course, he was thrown up to space to by Darkseid, and which is stupid. Like Darkseid should know that the sun like gives powers to these Kryptonians. So it's so stupid. Darkseid throw Clark out of space. Like, wow, what a stupid villain. What a stupid plan, Darkseid. But it was neat that he woke up and fully recharged, and seeing Clark be a Darkseid. But it's very funny how badly they destroyed the house and the farm. Like especially the end with the parents arriving, which was hilarious. Like they didn't say anything. Like it was just funny. It's like you should say something. It's like, oh Clark, how you doing? Who's this lady? Like that was weird that they didn't talk, but it was funny because it's like, oh my god, our whole home is destroyed. Our chickens and cows are on the loose. Maybe it's like it was just funny the aftermath of the battle. So overall, that like action scene is one of the best in this film, and I highly recommend just seeing this sequence. Really, I mean the movie is okay, but just see it for Supergirl and then this action scene. And it was great to see her in costume. Like I really liked that she got her costume finally, so it was really neat. But yeah, so yeah, we're not doing grading yet, right? No. Yeah. Okay. Well, this is gonna be my lowest. I'll probably give it a 5 out of 10. I mean,
does your rating consider whether she has her clothes on or off?
No. My rating is for storytelling, character development.
Ah, okay.
And being faithful or being invented to the comic characters. That's my point of grading. So no. I mean, I knew it was from the comics, but besides that, it's like, okay, like you don't need that. This is just stupid. Anyway, yeah, 5 out of 10. It's not the worst. The worst movies is not yet to come. Like those are in the New 52 lineup, which is really bad. So this is not the worst. I just think it didn't deliver on the title really, and it was a misconception on the film. But it's an adorable film. I enjoyed it. If you're like me, I'm a Supergirl fan more than a Superman fan. I like this movie because they did a good job of taking care of Kara as a character. I thought her arc was clear, consistent. I enjoyed all that. Her talking to the statue of her friend Layla, like that was sweet. I liked that, and it came around for her arc, which is good. But I'm sorry, but like animation was okay. I know what they were trying to do, but I felt like it was inconsistent from the first movie, and it fell apart from the first movie in terms of storytelling, and so it was just disappointment, but it's not as bad. I can highly recommend it. But just keep your expectation low for this film. But yeah, it's like it's still a good fun Disney film, but it's not the best I've seen. So yeah, that's my rating.
Okay, thank you, folks out there in the great lands of talking. Anyways, thank you, Andreas. Thank you for that. Great job, sir. Loved it. Anyways, Kendra, same question and your rating, please.
I think that I would have to put this ending as one of my favorites just because of how out the box it is. I mean, you don't expect it, and it's done wonderfully. It's a beautiful twist. The minute that Darkseid comes out of that door, the minute that it happens, it's just from there on an all-out brawl in every single one of the best ways. I mean, they do not pull back any punches. There is no manipulation. There is no grandstanding for the most part. It is just an all-out fight. It's who can do it better, who hits harder, who can trick each other the most, who watched the most WWE and saw some moves. I mean, it's wonderful. And I think that that's probably why it ranks up there as one of my favorites, because it's the one time that we don't see any kind of manipulation or trick or easy, convenient fix to a fight where, ooh, the superhero wins the day. It really is a hard brawl, and they win based on what they're able to do, not necessarily a trick. Even though, yes, you could consider the boom tube at the end one. That's just a means to get rid of the body. He's already down. I mean, he was done. So I really actually enjoyed it. I liked the nuance of the Kents being there, of Superman being like, this is how I grew up. I would like for you to be able to see it. I loved that. I didn't even mind that they didn't talk, because I would have been in shock seeing chicken feathers everywhere, roof pieces, siding. I mean, I would have been pissed. I don't even know if I'd have been able to speak even after they're like, oh, we can fix it. Like, all right, Bob the Builder, let's go. But I think that if I had to look at it overall, yes, the title of the movie when it came out and even now is very confusing, because it's definitely, yes, Superman and Batman are there, but they're not the main feature to the story. They're not the protagonists. It's Supergirl. It's Kara. It's her origin story. And honestly, even with the cringe-inducing bad girl Kara, it's still one of my favorite versions of her origin story. I think that it does justice to the depth and to the character line that she took in order to become the Supergirl that is indoctrinated at the end. And I love that moment where she gets to reintroduce herself to these people who now not only respect her, but hold them on her level. So I do like that. So if I were to give it a full rating, I think I would be a 7 out of 10. It's not one that I would recommend to a to a newbie to come in on. Absolutely not. Absolutely not. But for people who have even a little bit of knowledge for the characters, it is enjoyable. It's Michael Turner's art. You have wonderful writing and a voice cast. The pacing needs work, but other than that, I think that it's at least enjoyable.
Excellent. Thank you. So we got a 5. We got a 7 so far. Jeff, same question, sir. Your thoughts on the end of the film, and then, of course, your rating. And, of course, we got to see Captain Bree's butt.
There you go. That's my rating for the film right there. Whatever rating you want to give that picture of Bree, Captain Bree, right there, and her flat ass. That's the same number I'm going to give. I'm going to in a very socialistic way, as a part of the team. Whatever y'all want to give her there, that's what I'm going to give the film. No, I'll give it a 6.5. Because it has wonderful characters in it and whatnot that are celebrated, right? And are classic, epic characters that when they're well serviced and like properly used and whatnot, and vehicles that portray their themselves well, right? When they have arcs that actually like do something for their characters and give us the best of them, the best of that they have to offer for the most part, or at least allow them to be, do the best, parts of their characters. they're wonderful characters. I love Wonder Woman, right? I think that the Wonder Woman origin story film that we saw was one of the best DC animated films I've ever seen. To be honest with you, I loved it. I loved the humor. I loved the sexual innuendo, right? Right, like it was very mature. This movie, I don't really think. I mean, again, it's okay. It's an okay movie. It's not like a complete. It's not Love and Thunder. It's not like the DC animated version of Love and Thunder or some shit type garbage or whatever, right? You know, but I mean, like the Party Thor episode of What If was like better than this movie, you know. No, I'm just kidding. It actually wasn't. No.
Hell no. I watched this
No.
over that episode.
I love Supergirl too. I said to Kendra earlier, we were in the studio. I said I told her she'll tell you, back me up, that I always have liked Supergirl. I think that she's cool, everything and whatnot. Everything I've seen her in and whatnot, I've never had a problem with her. I always thought she's been. I've heard that in some stuff I haven't seen that she's not so good. Stuff I've seen her in and whatnot, I think she's been pretty strong. You know, again, it's all within your personal purview, right? And I don't know. I mean, Batman Under the Red Hood is just so fucking good, right? It's very difficult to go from that to this. You know what I'm saying? Like, it really is. It's a big leap. So, I don't care about how they titled the film necessarily, I guess. It doesn't bother me, really. Maybe if I was more of a hardcore DC fan, like, I could see how that would piss me off. Or I would be like, oh, that's misguiding or whatever, right? Like, that doesn't, it's not proper. Or whatever, something doesn't, you know, give Kara her proper due or something like that, possibly, right? From that perspective, I can see how somebody might have a problem with that kind of stuff. Me personally, I just see it as like an aesthetic almost. It's whatever to me. Overall, the film is it's a DC animated film that is flawed. It has multiple flaws in it. It does, compared to the other films we reviewed. Now, Andres, the films you're talking about from the new 52 or whatever, those are the newer ones, right? The ones that Cyber and I just saw at Best Buy a couple weeks ago.
Yeah, it starts from the Flashpoint paradox to Superman, from Justice League, Dark Side War or something like that. And I don't want to go. I'm going to finish my point on the film, but the Dark Apocalypse War film I thought was great. That was the first DC animated film I saw. I watched it on YouTube. I saw on YouTube, and that's how in the middle of the night I just came across it and I watched it. Right? It was. I like it too. I love Raven. I love the character of Raven. I love the Teen Titans. Right? Even Teen Titans Go. I like that. In fact, for 2 years or so there, I watched it every morning. That was like one of the things I watched every day was like Teen Titans Go. So there you go. But I still prefer the original Teen Titans animated series. That's better, right? Titans on Max was on HBO Max was okay, but no, the Ravens and Superman team up is what did it for me in that film. I love that. That and fucking what's his name? The mystical guy,
Mystical.
From the DC universe. What's his name? Come on. What's his name? Kiefer played him.
Kiefer.
Wait.
Not Kiefer. No. Who the hell played him? Not Kiefer. John.
I don't think anybody cares, but okay.
No, John. Constantine.
Oh, Matt Ryan. Yeah, Matt Ryan. I know what you're talking about now. Yeah, John Constantine. Yeah, he's a good character.
Yeah, aren't they going to make a second film?
Yeah. They're making that and Keanu Reeves as well.
Yeah, Keanu Reeves. Yeah, where the fuck I got Kiefer from? What the fuck? I'm tripping, man. This ain't 24, bitch. This ain't 24, baby. Kiefer wasn't in the Matrix last time I checked. See, folks, this is what happens when you watch this movie, this DC animated film. You end up fucked up like this and whatnot, to where you think Kiefer Sutherland was somehow in the Matrix, right? And that's what I got right there. That's my contribution on the panel.
Thank you, sir. That's fantastic. And, as always, yes, Kiefer Sutherland is a great actor, but yes, he was not in The Matrix as Neo. Most definitely, folks. Anyways, so just give my final thoughts. Probably the final act of the film was my favorite. Wow.
Man.
Okay,
God
folks. Yes,
damn it.
there we go.
Motherfucker.
Anyways, so I thought the final act was probably my favorite part of the film. I like that battle sequence with Darkseid, and I think them go to town, especially Superman when he gets into that tornado, was awesome. Absolutely loved it. But my rating for this film, I can't go just with everyone else's thoughts there. I'm going to give this my worst rating out of all the ones I've seen so far. Just for the fact that everyone else has given it good ratings, I want to be the odd man out and give it a little different rating. And so I'm going to go with a 4 for this bad boy, simply for the fact it got a 4 because of the action in this film. Everything else I've just found, I was like sitting there, I was bored. I was just bored. It just was too boring to me. Even the humor was not enough to be funny. It was good. Like it was good lines, but it just, I don't feel it was delivered as well, especially with such great voiceovers by Summer Glau and Tim Daly. I absolutely love them. I think they're fantastic. I love Tim Daly in Wings. He was fantastic in that show. And, I think Tim Daly is a great actor, great voiceover when he does it. And I've always enjoyed him doing Superman's voice. Always enjoyed what he brings to it. And I think he does a good job. And, Summer Glau was great as Kara. She was fantastic. Kevin Conroy, of course, as Batman. He's Dynamite, of course. He's always going to be Dynamite. Even though, unfortunately, he passed away last year, his voice will go down in infamy as always. He will be amazing. He'll be always awesome. But there have been other people, I think, that did voice Batman. They've been good, too, as well. But overall, like, with that dynamic voice cast, I just didn't feel it matched the animation, and I didn't feel it matched the story very well. And that's another reason why I have to go a little lower on this bad boy. Overall, I don't think it's a horrible film. I don't think it's the worst film. I definitely still think that anthology Batman was the worst of that we have watched so far. But this one is very close. This one's very close for me. I just did not think it was great. I got to go back to the title. I still think this should have been a Supergirl film. I still think it should have been called Supergirl something. And because it was really her origin story. And so that deducts points for me too. So I have to give it a 4 out of 10 for this one. All right. That is it for this review, guys. As always, I want to thank you all for watching and all those who watch after we have live stream. I want to thank the amazing panel for being on here. Kendra, Andreas, Jeff, thank you for being on the panel tonight. And of course, we're going to get out of here with doing some plugs for you guys, of course, to let you know where you can find all of us fancy people here, where you can find and look at our content. And all that kind of good stuff. So I'll let Jeff take that away.
I've got you, brother. I've got you right here, sir. Ladies first. Kendra, until you decide to start your new YouTube channel.
Oh, my God.
Right? In the meantime, please, my friend, discuss your Twitter and what all you're doing these days.
Oh my goodness. All right. So my Twitter is basically where anyone can come, and if you're feeling froggy, say hi. It's probably where I'm going to interact with you the most. It's where all of my Ladies of Horror submissions go. It's where any reviews or articles for DC Comics News Network go, Dark Knight News. I am the exclusive writer, or not, the writer for the reviews of the Harley Quinn series. So anytime a new Harley book comes out, there'll be a review for it. But honestly, like I said, Twitter's there. Everything that I write goes up there. Find me.
Kendra, next time, do me a favor, do me a solid, and tell me what you'd like me to pull up review-wise or whatever, whatnot. If there's anything specific, just give me a link or two, right? That way I can actually pull up some of your work, right? And that I can put it in the description too.
I can do that.
All right, awesome. And Andres. Now, and also I want to just go ahead and just mention thank you very much, Kendra, for coming on. And Kendra
Yes.
is going to be here with us, with Andres, with John, with a bunch of people that we know. Gunner's even going to show. That's going to show up to cover Secret Invasion here next week. So
Yes.
hats off
Ooh.
to Kendra. Looking forward to it. I think everybody's jacked. I know Cyber is. I know Andres is. I think everybody is pretty pumped for some fucking Marvel.
No, thank you guys. I always appreciate coming on here. You guys are a blast.
Well, hell yeah. I mean, when you got Andres, that's all you need, baby.
Okay. All right.
Especially with all his knowledge from the 60s.
There you go.
Oh, whoa. Okay, I could take all the mocking and all that, but the '60s were great, and I did good work for the government. Anyway, sorry. Long story, folks. Watch all the podcasts talking about the '60s and all that. Anyway,
Do they have condoms in the 60s? Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah, thank you, Kendra. I'm too old. I can't remember. Anyway, so so Andreas Pop Culture Channel presents. This week it's been a huge week of big anniversaries. I just yesterday, the 13th, I just posted a 30th anniversary for Jurassic Park. Tomorrow, check out for a retrospective and review on Jurassic Park, the 1993 classic. Right now, currently, I'm gonna make a Man of Steel 10th anniversary because today is the big
Damn.
10th anniversary of Man of Steel. So I'm going to post that tonight. Hopefully after this podcast is done. But yeah, so check out for all that. And recently I did a podcast with Chris, my host for this channel, on the trailer discussion on the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Mutant Mayhem, which was great. And then we also discussed Spider-Verse, Across the Spider-Verse. So because we saw that twice, so highly recommend watching that movie. Please, Spider-Verse is one of the best movies of 2023. Very excited. So that's what's going on. I'm up to 770 subscribers. So thank you everyone for supporting my channel. Just subscribe to my channel and just hit that like button. That's all I need. That's it. And and support Cyber too, please.
Hey, I'm telling you. So, listen, Secret Invasion is what's going to do it. Secret Invasion is going to push you and Cyber both over 1,000 subs. Watch. I'm telling you. I'm telling you. Watch.
Sure.
Secret Invasion is going to be really fucking good. I have a really good feeling about it. I really do.
Sure. The review's been up today, so far good.
I will admit I did listen to the Cosmic Wonder there, Warren. I listened to his 10-minute video or whatever where he mentioned where he loosely talked about his thoughts in the first 2 episodes, but he was very vague. He did not give any details at all. So I don't want to spoil it, folks. I don't know. I can't remember, Cyber, how you are about that stuff, but I don't think you watch any of that crap either, right? We go into the episodes and whatnot, everything fresh and whatnot. We want to be able to review them and whatnot on our own.
I don't usually watch reviews anyways. I just don't care.
Yeah, I don't either.
I like to see for myself. But anyways, folks, if you enjoy me as moderator or enjoy me on the panel, definitely check out my channel. You can find me on YouTube. You can find me on Twitter. You can find me on Facebook. You can find me everywhere pretty much. I'm currently at 673 subscribers, getting closer to that 700 mark. And I just released my Transformers Rise of the Beast review. Just went live today, so definitely go check that out. Fantastic film. If you have not seen it, highly recommend it. Check it out. It's a solid entry into the Transformers franchise. It was interesting to see the Maximals. So yeah, definitely check out that review. It's up. It's fun. Check out my Spider-Verse review. It's fun. I will be having my solo Flash review up by the end of the weekend too, after I see the film, along with doing the live stream. So keep an eye out for that. I have a whole bunch of trailer reactions coming up for you guys too as well. Keep your eyes up for those. From everything from Dune Part 2 to all kinds of new upcoming shit. So definitely check it out.
There you go, folks. You heard it there. And of course, but for my plugs, as usual, since I don't make any individual content as of these days, I just wanted to go ahead and just give another one of my erotic, my massage parlor reactions. Right? It's a new playlist of the Bleeding Edge. True Knowledge. The Massage Parlor Diaries. Right?
We're getting him help for his addiction to the parlors, folks. We're getting him help. We swear.
My stay at the Cozy was very cozy. Right? There you go. No rating or like that, whatnot. You know, and if you want,
it was probably a 10.75.
No comment. A gentleman never discusses these matters. Besides, I personally find it age phobic to just assume just because it's an Asian massage parlor with the name Cozy in the name that I went there for anything but professional massage, right? You know, I mean, to have my feet rubbed, right? And bathed or whatever the fuck, whatever that shit is, I don't even know. What is a table shower anyway? Can somebody explain? I have no fucking idea. Who knows? I don't want to know. No idea. Maybe Andres knows. You never know. Anyways, folks. I one of these days I'm gonna get one of the massage parlor ladies to actually do an outro for us for the show, right? Like, yeah, okay, USA, Bleeding Edge, maybe, you know, something like that. But in the meantime, God bless our guests who put up with me and everything and whatnot. We love all of you out there, right? Please have a great rest of the week. Please have a great weekend. Go see The Flash if you want to. If you don't want to go see it, don't go see it. I'm gonna go see it. We're all going to see it. We're reviewing it on Friday. It's supposed to be really fucking good. Michael Keaton's in it, man. And hey, Secret Invasion, baby, next week. Next Wednesday. Woo woo! 9:35 p.m. Eastern, 6:35 p.m. Pacific. We'll be live. Episode 1. Can't wait. It'll be almost as dope as Andor Season 2. Peace. We out of here. If I could ever actually pick an outro or something.
Peanut butter and crap.
He kicked his habit back in the joint.